Hey, before this video starts, I just want to let you know that I'm working on the combat episode of How to DM. It's pretty large, and so it'll take some time to edit on top of schoolwork and regular work. In the meantime, enjoy the story. The players all take a step into the large stone room, the rocks shifting softly beneath their feet. The room was ancient, lost, deep underground for some time, only recently dug up by the local coal quarry. They heard tales of the miners never returning and even the search parties getting lost after entering. Finally, the group decided to take their try and solve this mystery. As everyone stepped in, they were quickly met with a loud thud as the door behind them sealed shut, leaving them in the dimly lit dungeon room, with only another door on the other side and a pillar in the center of the room with a button. Above each door, a spiral of numbers counting down from 20 to 1. If you also watch Z-Basher, you likely know where this is going, and at least I thought I did. In an effort to make the puzzle room a bit more interesting, I explained the light in the room to 3 magic lanterns in the corners, hovering over large pits leading deep into the darkness. One of the lanterns had long since fell down into one pit, leaving the corner particularly dark. I suppose I put a bit too much detail because before long the players were inspecting the missing lantern in the pit, and before I knew it, one was requesting to propel down into the pit by holding onto a rope with the rest of the party agreeing to slowly lower it in. Luckily or unluckily, I planned for this. The map I was using had a space that was strangely empty when I designed the dungeon, so I used the space to create a trap pit where the players would go if they fell into a pit. What I didn't do was take into account them jumping into it voluntarily. The party was large enough that lowering the rope didn't require any work. However, I did make the rogue who wanted to go down into the pit roll for strength to make sure not to fall off. 7. They tested the hole with a rock earlier, and after a good bit of the rock falling, heard it quietly hit the ground deep in the pit. This apparently gave them all they wanted to know. There was a bottom. Now, with a 7, it wasn't as bad as it could have been, but definitely didn't pass the DC check I had placed to hang on that long. They made it around 3/4 of the way down before their hands started to slip. Then, the party felt the rope get much lighter. And then, a thud. The rogue fell off into the pit, their lantern shattering as they hit the ground. Thankfully, due to the height that they were at in which they fell, they didn't die right away from the fall damage. However, the poison gas room they fell into didn't take long to come into effect. They rolled a con save. 3. They quickly succumbed to the gas with an audible choke and a whisper of help echoing up the pit to the party. Immediately, they all panicked. Then, one asked to go into the pit after them. The rest were scared after they had just lost one party member to this pit and they didn't want to lose another. After a good moment of convincing, they agreed to tie the sorcerer to the rope to prevent them from falling. Survival check. Nat 20. They all lower the sorcerer quickly into the pit as the rope holds tight like a god. To the unconscious and actively dying rogue, they saw the sorcerer as an angel, parting the clouds and descending from the heavens to retrieve them. When they were quickly grabbed, had a greater potion of healing shoved down their throat, and pulled up from the pit. After a large amount of tugging and cheering, they were quickly left back where they began, in the room with the button. They all took a moment to relax, then they held the button. 20, 19, 18, 17. As it counted down, they looked at the changing colors with a dull glare as their emotions and energy had long been drained. Watching the door open after it reached 0, the party all took a deep breath, sighed, and ventured into the entrance of the dungeon. I hope you all enjoyed this little story of my party's first puzzle experience that occurred last Saturday. They are all new players to D&D, and teaching them how to play has been an absolute blast. If I get permission to share some of the art or animations they've made, I'd absolutely love to. Otherwise, of course, I'd like to thank our patron Zero for being a super fan. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, and if you have stories of your own or thoughts on this one, leave a comment. I plan on making many more videos covering D&D content, and my stories as a DM, so subscribe to be alerted to them. And as always, Have a great day.